Hey guys, how's it going? Connor here, also known as Movie Snapper, with another book review. This one is The Circus of Dr Lao by Charles G. Finney. I did a video on the channel a little while ago picking my next read, and this is the one I landed on. It took me a lot longer to read this than you'd think, only being about 100 pages long, because I struggled to read this. It's not a traditional novel in the sense that there's one continuing narrative. It's a bunch of vignettes. I think that's how it's pronounced. So what this is a small country town called Abalone, or Abalone. Not sure on the pronunciation there. Bunch of country hicks, basically. The Circus of Dr Lao rolls up overnight and has a whole bunch of wonderful creatures that it claims to have. Oh, here we go, there's some on the back here. Werewolf, a bloody sacrifice of a live virgin for a god that no one's ever heard of. Chimeras, unicorns, Greek satyrs. There's a sea serpent as well. There's a said Medusa, and yeah, so it's everyone goes, oh, you know, these creatures don't exist, they're not real, this must all be a hoax, but let's go see it anyway because there's nothing else they do in town. And the book follows maybe 5, 6, 8 characters total, and it just shows basically their little spot meeting this creature in the circus, or their little story watching the creature or watching the event in the circus, and that's pretty much how it goes through. And then the whole town comes in at the end to watch this, you know, god with the sacrifice. So one character talks to the sea serpent, and it talks about its life, how it would swim across the ocean and mate and then come back, and it hates how Dr Lao has captured him and must be set free. So there's a lady who goes into a tent, comes across a satyr. The satyr plays his pipes and then has his way with her. It's not graphic or anything. It just describes a few things, and your imagination, you know, comes with the rest and thinks of the rest. And then there's a bunch of men that want to watch a werewolf transform. But it's already a werewolf and it's going to transform back into a human, and they're disappointed that the human is an old lady, and they were hoping it would be some young lady naked without clothes. And Dr Lao, of course, points this out to them, going, oh, of course it has to be a carnal nature, you can't just enjoy something and then, you know, they're disgruntled and they leave. There's what else was? I'm struggling to remember. It left such a good impression on me. There's a family and a bunch of other people that watch this, you know, rock's egg, you know, the rock, the bird of myth, and they go, oh, this can't be real, this is concrete, this is a statue, this is that. And then it starts to seep water, and then it cracks, and then the baby bird comes out, and everyone goes, oh, how did he fake that, how did he fake this, you know, it has to be real. And then pretty much they're still arguing with each other, and they walk out and they leave, and it goes to the next story. There's some like ancient sorcerer, I already forget his name as well, and he pops in and out on a few, and he performs magic and, you know, wows people. But I'm sure Charles is trying to make a comment on people just being, what's the word? Not unappreciative, but just this. It's like they're stuck in the ways or something, so they're not wowed by the fantastic. They don't, you know, they want to find something and then just go, who cares? What a load of rubbish. Let's just go on about our lives. So I'm sure that commentary is meant to be in there, but it doesn't. For me, it didn't stick. And then I think at some point there's So I think these tents are a bit like the TARDIS. There's a bunch of people at a peep show, and it's a fawn watching a bunch of sirens, and but it describes the lake and the shore and the reeds, and then they're watching all this inside a tent, hoping to watch something, and thankfully nothing does. And there's another tent. This is in the story where an African priest or deity comes across, comes along to some women who are offering themselves to him. And I can't even remember, but the scene was a bit weird. But then it disappears again. It was very much, here's the thing, and it stops. Next thing, here's the thing, it stops. Here's the next thing, it stops. And then they're watching Yotl, which is this big pagan god that it, goes, come see the pagan god. And it's this giant, again, the TARDIS logic, it's this giant god that eventually just collapses, I can't remember how, collapses, falls down and destroys the tent, and everyone runs away. And it's done, and they all go back to their lives, and it's finished. So that's pretty much it. There's probably a few other little encounters I forgot, but I can't remember them because I didn't think much of this book, to be honest, and that's why it took me so long to read such a short book. There's this whole section toward the beginning when the circus procession is coming through town, that these people keep arguing whether this one being in a cage was a human or a bear, and that joke goes on for 11 pages, 12 pages, where everyone argues if it was a bear or a human, and couples fight and friends fight. That's, like I said, 11 or 12 pages out of a 100-page book. To me, it just fell flat the whole way, and the humor didn't land at all. Look, maybe there was something I missed. Maybe it just didn't resonate with me for one reason or another. Maybe I didn't, like I said, understand his commentary on stuff, but I didn't care for this book. Really, I'd give it 1 out of 5. I couldn't really care for it. I mean, his use of language was alright, and Dr. Lao, impressively for a book written in 1935, isn't filled with the negative Asian stereotypes normally, that are in books from that era. He's a very well talked and respected and educated man, and presents himself with normal English, doesn't use any of the silly broken English, except for when characters annoy him. So he'll break out into the silly, broken, stereotypically badly written English to annoy characters, to make them leave him alone or to leave an area, because they're like, oh, you're so annoying. So they'll walk off, and then he'll go back to how he can present himself and talk to people normally. So I'm disappointed in how I rated this book and how my experience was with this book, because I was actually very excited, because I remember quite vividly years and years ago of having seen a midday movie. I'm talking, I was 4 or 5, and it having turned into a nightmare and being really scared of this monster. And I am 95% sure that it's from one of the creatures from the movie adaptation, The 7 Faces of Dr. Lao, with the stop motion there. But that image in my nightmare has stuck with me for 30 years, right? But I'd only found out about the movie a few years ago. Still haven't watched it. But then, I found out it was a book, and I was like, oh, cool. And that was the little story or tidbit I'd said in the video when picking this book I was going to share. Rambling, I'm sorry. But anyway, guys, keep reading and enjoy life. See you next time.